Hello and thank you for stopping by. Today I have this Craftsman LT2000. I just picked it up. It was a Craigslist find, and the complaint on this tractor was that the back wheels are locked up, they won't roll, and the engine wouldn't start. Today I'm going to show you how I check to see whether this transmission is bad or whether the brakes are just locked up on this. Hopefully it's just a locked up brake, because I need a transmission. I have several of these Craftsman tractors, all with bad transmissions. Now, in addition to that transmission, if it's any good, we have this fender, the foot pan, that's in decent shape. It's not rotted, has a little bit of rust. In here, let's see what we have, if anything's salvageable. Gas tank missing a cap. The gentleman who asked me to pick this up said that it wasn't running, so family members came and took what they wanted. There's pieces missing on the wheels, but these wheels look like they might have been off a John Deere. Anyway, we have a starter that's loose. I don't know if this is the original starter or if they took a starter out of this one and replaced it with this one that maybe doesn't work. There's a solenoid back there, if that's still good. We have these wires, the diode. The valves might be good on this. Who knows? This might even start. This just might be a carburetor problem. The hood's in good shape. If I can't get this going, I'm going to salvage it out for parts right away. The front end on it looks good. Nothing wrong with this. It's all solid. This is one of the caps for the wheels. There's one of the C-clips in there. Let's see what we have here. Carburetor. Okay. Now, if it's not starting because of lack of gas, it could be this filter. It could be the solenoid. It could just be dirty. I won't know until I take it apart. But my first goal here is to see whether I can salvage this transmission. If the transmission's good, then I'm going over to the engine. If I could get the engine to start, then I'll put this thing back together piece by piece. It came with the seat missing and the deck missing, but they left these rods, and I don't know if there's a belt, drive belt on here. I'm going to take this foot pan off. Just makes it a little easier. You don't have to, just so you can see what I'm doing when I work on this transmission and what I find back here. Well, it's almost 1 o'clock. It's time for lunch. It's cooling off a little bit. It's down to about 85 degrees. I parked this in the shade, and I just need a break. Once I have this off and I have this exposed, I'll show you what we have. This foot pan's in pretty decent shape. A little bit of rust here and there, but no rot whatsoever. So this is a good shape. One of the things you want to do is take the battery out. It'll take a lot of weight off. And this didn't have the seat on it, but if you do have the seat, take it off. It makes it easier pulling it out. Now, there's only 2 bolts that hold this on. Right by where this tag is, you have this bracket underneath. And this bolt, it's coming through the top. You can't see it because of the rubber. Has it right here. Sticks through. And it goes onto this bracket. It's held on by a nut. 1 nut holds it on. 1 on each side. When you go to pull this off, that bracket's actually in the way. Let me get this over here. I'm trying to get a better view of this. You want to loosen the nut that holds the bracket on so you can spin it. You could take it off altogether. I just leave it on. It's one less thing to put back. And this bolt will pull through. Just like this. That's it. And the other side is the same thing. On these gaseous handles, there's usually a round ball on it. This one had a long handle on it. Couldn't get it off by hand. I just put a glove around it and used a pipe wrench and turned it with the pipe wrench, and it came right off. And that took care of that. On the other side, it's the same thing. You have to disconnect the electrical on it. There's just 2 of them. And you can see in here, Trying to get a view of this. Right in here. When you go to release the lever so you could push this, it doesn't budge. Right down here, it doesn't move. I'm going to use a mixture of transmission fluid and mineral spirits as a penetrating fluid. I'm going to soak that, tap it back and forth, and I'll be back. All right, I have this wheel off. Just want to point out, when you go to take this wheel off, you're going to have this plastic hub. Take this off, try not to rip it. It keeps it from getting rust in there. You'll have these two washers on, and then you're going to have the C-clip. The C-clip's what holds your wheel on. It'll be on the axle. Just get a screwdriver, pry it off. Keep your hand next to it so it doesn't go flying. You're going to need this putting it back on. And also, don't lose this key. This key goes into this keyway here, and you have a groove on the axle. If you don't put this back in, and you put this wheel on, whether the transmission is good or not, you're not going anywhere. Just want to point that out if you never did this before. Now, here's the brake. And I was going to take this assembly apart, but this brake is moving. There's this. What happens when you step on the brake, there's two brake shoes in here, one on this side, one on the other side, similar to a car disc brake. And this disc is connected to this shaft, and when you step on it, it locks up and it keeps the wheels from turning. So that doesn't look like it's the problem. You can see in here I lubricated all this. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to tap this easy with a hammer. I'm going to start wiggling it back and forth, try to get a wrench on it. I don't have any way to mount this camera while I'm doing this to show you, but this, once I get it freed up, just as if I was loosening up a nut or a bolt that was stuck. Once it goes one way, I'll push it the other way back. I'll lubricate a little bit more, just back and forth, and see if that does anything. I oiled and loosened up just about everything I could find. What I'm going to do now is put a drill on this nut with an extension. I want to see if the shaft turns and if it turns the right direction. Now, that doesn't mean the transmission's good. It means that it is working, but it could be slipping. But at least I'll know whether this will work when the engine's running, that it'll turn. Okay, I have it in view. All right, you saw this axle turn one way. When I shifted the gear in reverse, it turned the other way. Again, it doesn't mean that this transmission won't slip, just means that it's working. Now, I did find neutral. It's in neutral right now. I'm going to put that wheel on and see when I pull this lever out if both wheels will turn. All right. I have this wheel put on with the pin in it. You see when you're turning this wheel, the other one goes in the opposite direction. That's normal. But when it has weight on it, it should go in the same direction. Now I'm going to hold this wheel and turn this one, and I can turn them both the same way. See how it's turning? Before I freed this up, when you pushed this tractor, this wheel would only go in this direction. It would not turn the other way. It would not turn with the other wheel, and it would lock up and it would just skid along. When I pulled it up on the trailer, it would just slide and slide and slide and all the way up. But now, when I go to roll this, it'll roll in the right direction. Okay? Before, it wouldn't do this. I hope the camera's picking this up. Yeah, let's see. So that's it. It wasn't the brake. My first suspicion was the brake, because a lot of times these brakes lock up. Let's get this off here. it was the mechanism down here, and the one on this side, this was frozen up also. When you shift the gears, it moves these levers over here. All this was frozen. I was told this sat at least 2 years, and when they put it away, it just wasn't running. So from not running, it went to not moving. That's it for the bare transmission. Now what I have to find out is if I could get this engine running. Once I get the engine running, I have to see if this transmission will hold its weight and move. If that's the case, I just might rebuild this one here. That's it. I'm gonna get those washers back on, that C-clip, so I don't lose them and this wheel stays on. Get this tractor off the jacks, get it off the trailer, wrap up these tools, and call it a night. If you have any questions or comments, be sure to post them down below. If you enjoyed this video or found it useful, give it a like. If you haven't done so already, subscribe. And until next time, everyone, stay safe.